Welcome back. So before we went on this break, I was talking about some of the things that the spokesperson for the president, Femi Adesina, listed as some of the achievements. And I'm taking it to you, Mr. Onwudewe. He said Nigeria exited, the recession, Naira stabilizing against the dollar, bumper harvest, as Mr. Shoumi mentioned earlier, especially in rice, and then the payment of pension, among others. Do you think the government fared well or a bit better in that regard?
First of all, let us be very grateful to Femi Adesina. He's working very hard. He's working hard enough to count such things as achievements, and so I agree. Great achievements, very great. Some people are still not paid in Osun. I hear they are planning a showdown very soon. I know what is going on in Kogi State. I know what is going on in many other states. And you talked about paying pensions. I'm talking about salaries. Some have not been paid. So, but if federal government has paid the federal staff, which is what Femi is talking about, that's wonderful. It's a great achievement. I didn't know that paying salaries and pensions is an achievement. I didn't know. I didn't know that at all. And when suddenly the fact that we have a bumper harvest becomes an achievement, then I remember our glorious years from 1960, even before 1960. I was just telling my colleague, my friend abroad, that you can visit anybody's house without any phone call. You didn't phone. You just come to your relation's house or a friend, food comes out of the kitchen. Food comes out. We had food security. Why? Nigeria was running the way it was supposed to run. Now that we have a feeding bottle economy, we have to go to Abuja, cap in hand, to go and get money. Then all these things become an achievement. It was not so before. Building roads was not an achievement. We had roads. Schools were doing better. Any student from Nigeria that goes abroad was doing great abroad. Our education was wonderful. We had a country. Today, look at the achievements. I'm scandalized. I remain a pessimist. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Administrator, you didn't come out to me as a pessimist. So let me ask it this way: what would you say is the biggest problem of the country within this period? Because in this year of 2017, issues like, I'm not talking about achievements now, but issues that were there, salaries, restructuring, IPOP, budget, these were like the major issues. In fact, the ones that shook the country from the length and breadth, restructuring. Then the IPOP issue. But what would you say was the biggest of the challenges, or what would have enhanced these things that were shaking the country? Government structure or the system? Or in fact, is there a difference between government structure and system?
Profound question. Thank you very much. I wouldn't want to see myself as a pessimist. I rather want to call myself a realist. A bit of semantic difference, no doubt, but the truth is, I certainly do agree with Mr. Onwudewe when he says that some of the things today that we tout as achievements should not even be mentioned in a normal situation. How will somebody work and the person gets a salary or a pension and you consider that as something to get accolades for? It's very laughable, to be very sincere. When I say that one of the few things I see as a bright spot within Nigerian space is the measure of stability, is considering the fact that before the current administration came into power, there was a lot of agitations, many of which you have alluded to. And to a degree, there's been a measure of stabilization. But coming to your main question, which is what is the main issue bedeviling this country, I would think that as a nation, we seem not to have discovered the essence of our togetherness. We seem not to have a clear direction. We seem not to know what this is all about. I'm always intrigued when I see the things that happen at the level of governance and wonder whether our people really understand what is at stake here. Let me give you a little example. We're talking about, for instance, the war against corruption. And the war against corruption is being fought from an institutional dimension when this is deeper than that. This thing has become systemic, it's become totally all-embracing. There is no single sector of the Nigerian life that doesn't have a challenge that requires urgent fixing. And when you look at the body language and you look at the approach and the ease at which and the pace at which government takes on some of these matters, you really wonder whether we truly appreciate the enormity of these challenges and the intent, the damages this is doing to the Nigerian state. I do think that the number one challenge is that we really have to define clearly what is our essence as a country. There is no rallying point for us as a nation. Nigeria is still very divided along sectoral lines, along ethnic lines, and even along religious lines, very unfortunately. Those are some of the very fundamental issues, if you ask me, that the government that want to be able to cause a turnaround for this nation, we need to address headlong, whereby governance and those in government must show by example that they do not subscribe to a number of these divisive tendencies within the nation. If we are able to be able to do that which is necessary by creating a roadmap that is clear and actionable and measurable, then we can be able to have a basis to be able to judge what we are doing.